Hey everybody, Lieutenant Joe here for Hope is Not a Tactic. So as we go through my list of things I want to talk to about school safety and security, I always want to keep in mind, you see this poster behind me for riot tint. I just went and I did a threat assessment for 3 dorms in a big college, Pennsylvania. And one of the things that they were concerned about was danger to the students in the dorms. And they have doors made of glass, tons and tons of glass everywhere, and none of it was protected. Right? So that's what riot tint is all about. It makes a product. It goes on the glass and it provides some time for the people inside to know that there's danger and to react without people just getting in immediately. We know in Sandy Hook, our killer came there, fired 2 rounds through the glass, and the glass dropped to the ground. He was in the school instantaneously. There's no time to react to that when they just show up. So that's why the riot tint material is so important. That's why I asked them to be our sponsor. So riottint.com, go take a look at it. Also, we're sponsored by blue360media.com. That's my publisher. They publish all my books and they help me to get my word out there. And then there's Medical Essential Diagnostics. Right? They are a company in New Jersey. They got 6 offices, and anybody who works for any entity of government in the state of New Jersey can go there at no cost to them for a full health screening. MedicalEssentialDiagnostics.com. Go save yourself. That's what I tell everybody when I present them to my classes. These people will help you save yourself. All right. That seems to be a theme, right? Riot tint keeps your building safe, save your lives. Okay. All right. So we've talked in the past about different topics, doing the proper drills, getting an assessment, what's involved in an assessment. And I go through my list here, and we talk about the 3 pillars of survival. The 3 pillars of survival are the basics of what you need to know to secure your facility. So I'm going to cover them real quickly here. Now, I have an article called 3 Pillars of Survival Plus One, and I've talked about it before. But I think the elements that are in there are really important. So the whole idea is preparation is the first pillar of survival. You have to be prepared. You have to prepare your physical buildings. You have to prepare your staff with training. You have to prepare yourself with good policy. Then you have to practice these things. You have to get the right equipment in place and make sure that your facilities are as secure as they possibly can be. Where are your lockdown facilities? How would you do that? All those kind of things. The next pillar of survival is communication. How do you tell everybody in your building that there's danger? Right? So say you're in a big high school and you're a teacher on the 2nd floor and you look out the window and you see somebody with a weapon coming towards the school. How do you tell everybody else that you should be locking down? Right? So a lot of schools have pre-locked doors. That's great. But is your glass secured? And how do you communicate that? So I see people tell me all the time, well, we would go in and we would hook up to the PA system, and that's how we would talk to everybody. And I say, okay, that sounds great, but is it actually going to work? And they find out some of the PAs don't work. The teachers don't know the numbers, right? So communication. And there's lots of products out there that you can find to go and look to help you communicate. So there's a product I worked on. It's not my company. It was another company. They asked me to consult with them to make an amazing communication device, and it's called Sentry ERS, right? Sentry ERS. I'll put it in the notes for the show. They were very concerned that they had a great idea for communication, but then they reached out to me, the security guy, and says, take a look at our product. And there were some things I asked them to change. I said, this is not going to work. This is not what people need. And they did all those things. It's absolutely an amazing product. I endorse it, right? And I get nothing from it. Nobody gives me anything for endorsing it. All I can say is that it's a great product for communication, right? There are lots of them out there. And I don't mind if you reach out and ask me, and I can direct you in lots of directions to try and help you. Joe at Pangaro Training or jpangaro@integraservices.com. Either one will work. You'll get to me. All right, so we have preparation is the first pillar. Second pillar is communication. We have to be able to tell everybody there's danger. And then number three is notification. How do we call the good guy and good girls and let them know we need help? Right? So there's notification systems that are out there. Is your plan to dial 911 or have someone else dial 911? Or do they have to get on a radio? You have to think of this in advance, and you think of it not under the circumstance of everybody would be nice and calm and that would be great. You have to think of it under the circumstance that there's going to be chaos. People are going to be in fear. There's danger going on. So how quickly and easily can we notify the law enforcement community to come and help us? So those are the three pillars. Now, I made it 3 pillars plus 1 because I had done a threat assessment in a district in upstate New York, and I told them that mental health was a huge concern. They should get mental health counselors. And at the time, I think they had 1 for the whole district. Well, they called me back 5 years later, just recently, and I redid the assessment because you should do it every 3 to 5 years. And I went in and I redid their assessment. And when I got to mental health, they now had over 20 counselors in their district that were properly trained to help identify children who are struggling, having problems, who may be a threat, so they can intervene before there's violence. This is extremely important, right? We want to get to these kids before they get to the point of attacking us. So the 3 pillars of survival plus 1 is preparation. And my question to you is, how do you prepare? You have updated policy? Do you have updated equipment? Have you had a threat assessment so you know where your weaknesses are? Do you train your staff and run drills of value? Go back and look at other episodes. We did a whole thing on drills of value. It's really important. Then number 2, communication. How does everybody in your facility know that there's danger? How do they broadcast that? Help, we're in trouble, we need help. Everybody lock down, there's danger here. And number 3, notification. How do you then call for outside assistance, law enforcement? How do you get them there? If you have an SRO, you're lucky. It's 1 person. Do you have 1 per building? Right? Do you have multiple officers in the security officers, armed or unarmed? That's better than nothing, absolutely. But you got to find a way you're going to call out for that help so they can get there quickly. And then the 3 pillars survival plus 1 is mental health. Mental health is hugely important. We can spot potentially violent people before they hurt us if we're properly trained and we're listening, we're looking for the signs, and we're actively trying to let people communicate with us that they're having trouble. That your students tell you, hey, Bob has a kill list. Frank's talking about hurting people. Then you intervene to help that student so that you protect everybody in your district. All right. So that's what we want to talk about today. The 3 pillars of survival plus 1 and how you can help secure your district. Don't forget, take a look at all of these sponsors we have here. They're absolutely amazing.